Let's see how well this works. I might have to cancel the video. All right. All right. Let's see. Today is 3. Jesus. Does anybody have any? I was going to say not questions. Can everybody hear me? Let's check this mic. And let's take a look at this. I'm not on mute. Can anybody let me know if you guys can hear me? Okay. All right. Somebody indicated they can. All right. That's all I care about. Pausing sharing will freeze the participant view until you resume. Did I pause that? Well, I didn't mean to. Oh, there we go. Gotcha. Okay, then if you don't have any questions, I'll just go ahead and start doing some problems from the test. The test that you'll have next or this Wednesday will be extremely similar to this. Probably you saw in the last time, the test is almost the same. All I'm going to do is change the numbers most likely. So let's start with the first one. The very first problem. Oh, I know I have my face on. I'm going to stop the video of my face because if I show my face at the same time, it's too much for my computer to handle. All right. So on each of in the first problem, all you have to do is tell me where the location is of each of the items on the grid. So for example, if you can see, I'm going to start with Boston. Where is it located on the grid? So if you start from the origin, how far do you have to go over before you get right underneath of the point? You have to go to 8. Or you can count your way over to 8. Whichever way you look at it, the x value is 8. Wait, let me erase that. So that point is 8 comma something. To get the y value, that's the second one. Just look over here, and you see that's between 6 and 8. That is 7 then. On the test, I'm going to come up with a better grid. This I took right out of the book, and as you can see, it does not. It's a little bit hard to follow some of the grid. But the same goes for Denver and all the other ones. So if I want to get Denver, all I need to look is underneath of it, and I see the -6. That's the x value. And then for the y value, all I got to do is look over to the side, and I see that its height is at 4. Seattle, let me see. If I look right underneath of it, I see that x is -8. And then if I look immediately to its right, I see that the y value is 9. For Phoenix, let me see, what's the x value? It looks like -7. And down here, that's -9. For Dallas, I'll look up here. I see a 3 for the x and a -5 for the y. And then finally, Atlanta, I can see the y value is -8 and the x value is +6. Okay, what I'll let you do, if you have any questions at any time, just let me know. I think I can see up here. Let me look at the participants. If you make any kind of some sort of an indication, I'll know that you have a question, or just use your microphone. That out of the way. I'll unmute all of you. All right. So, barring any questions or anything like that, I'll go on to the next problem unless people give me an indication. I'm going to make up a problem like this. Is that too big? That's good. Okay. So problem number 2 goes something like this on the test. Let me see the words. Find the slope. Okay. So I'll give you a picture of a graph. Where's draw? I better move this out of the way. All right, so I'll just make one up off the top of my head here. Let me put, in fact, I had a better way of drawing those dots too. So let's pick something thicker here and give me, yeah, let's do red. That'll be good. And let's put a dot over here too. Yes, this one here. Come on, there we go. I don't know. I think it got off track. If that sticks. Okay, I'll leave it at that. All right, to do this problem then, there's a couple of ways that you can do it. Let me write down the location of these points. And that's something you'll want to do anyways. You can count your way. That's one way I'm going to do it, but I'm also going to use the points. So if I start from the origin to get to this right point here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right. So I went to 6. And then up, I went 1, 2, 3. Now for the other point, if I start from the origin and go to the left, I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's -6. And then I'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the y value there is 6. And so this particular location is -6, comma 6. All right, there's two ways that you can do this. One is to count the rise or run. So if I go like this, I need to go that far down, which I went a total of 3 units. And then I need to go how far over. For that length, I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 units over. So my slope, since the line is tending downward, it's got a negative value. The amount it went down was 3, and the amount of run is 12. Now, I don't think you were required to show or to simplify this answer, so that's perfectly fine as an answer. However, you can also write it as -1/4. Either one of those is okay. So if I give you a graph, I personally think the easiest way to do it is this way, by tracking how much you go down or up versus how much you go to the right. However, there is a way that uses a formula that you might have seen before. I'll write it down here. I don't remember personally if I've used the formula in the class, but it's one that looks like this. You may have seen it if you ever had a class like this in the past. And the way it works is this way, that you usually label one point like x1 and y1, and another point x2 and y2. That way, when you do y2 minus y1, you see the y2 is equal to 3. The y1, that's equal to 6. And the x2 is equal to 6. And the x1 is equal to -6. So when you work this out, we're going to have -3 on the top and a +12 in the denominator. So you see we get the same answer using the formula. I don't know what this formula is called. I think it's just called the slope formula. And as usual, I don't care which way you do on an exam. It really doesn't matter to me as long as you are able to do it one way or the other. Like I said, I'll pause for questions. If I don't hear anybody do something, I'm not sure if I can see hands being raised because this one bar keeps hiding itself on me, and I don't know unless I did this. No, I don't need the video. I don't need that. Oh well, I'll move on.
Got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Let's say the question is graph the line with a slope 3/4 and y-intercept -5.
So graph. Where is my thing? I want a black ink for this. What was the y-intercept?
-5.
All right, so we know that the equation for this line is y equals 3/4 x minus 5, because that's the slope-intercept form, and you gave me the slope and the intercept. So it's a matter of graphing that line. Let me pull up the grid. Okay, now remember how these work. The first thing when you go to graph this, the first thing you want to do is this -5 tells you where it strikes the y-axis. So I'll go and to do it like I did the other problems. Let me grab, I don't want as big a dots as I had last. Oh wait, I was able to, I think, adjust them. 7, I think, yeah, let's do 2 and red. All right, so I'm going to do that -5 first. So starting at the origin, I'm simply going to go down 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll put my dot there. All right, now the slope, this 3/4, since it's positive, I'm going to go up and to the right. So from there, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and then the 4 tells me to go to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll put a dot there. Then go. Okay. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll put another dot. The dots aren't quite going where I want them to. Up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the last dot I put down. I think I have enough. And so we connect those with a line. Where you at lines? There you are. And as I've mentioned several times, the best practice, if you want the most accuracy, is to attempt to connect the first and last part. That line is way thicker than I wanted it to be, but I think it will get the idea. I'll probably change it since I hate that. And there you go. So when they're in this format, it's the fastest possible way to graph these things. That -5 tells you where to start, and then the 3/4 tells you how to go from there. Is that good?
Yeah, it's just the 3/4 is basically the rise and run.
That's exactly what it is, right?
All right, thank you.
Sure. A lot of these problems, if you had a really good feel for graphing, a lot of the problems can be done simply by looking at a graph. Here's this one here. I don't know if I did this, but this will give us a chance to do the slope formula because they don't have a graph associated with these, although you could simply graph these points and then do the previous procedure. But it looks to me like I wanted you to be able to see it graphically and using the formula. So if you don't know this formula, make sure that you pay attention here. Let me choose this ink. And for that, that's the one that I just wrote before. All right, so they give us a couple of problems here. This is what students have done in the past. Whether it works for you or not, that's your own business. But you can pick one of them to be the first point, like that, and then the other one to be the second point, like so. So then when you use the formula, write down y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and then fill in the blanks. So my y2 is this guy right here, the 8. And then y1 is the 5. X2 is -2. And x1 is also -2. So when you get something like this, a 0 in the denominator is not permitted. So this is the slope here is simply undefined. What that means is this ends up being a vertical line. Since you see the x value is -2 here, this one here, this first one is the line x equals -2, just because the x value stays at -2 for all the points. If you write it down every single time you do this, before long you'll have it memorized. Now, just to show you that it doesn't matter which one you choose to be which, you could choose that one to be the first one, and that one to be the second, this one to be the second one, and this one to be the first one. You'll get the same answer either way. So if I decide to call these the 2, then I would do -3 minus 8. Now I'm erasing it because I don't want to throw things like that at you right before an exam. But I just want you to know if you mix it up, you'll still be okay. All right, so let me go ahead and throw in these numbers. My y2 is 8 minus, my y1 is -3. Make sure you put the parentheses around the negative or you'll mess that up. And then the x2 is 8. And the x1 is -6. On the top, 8 plus 3 is 11. And in the denominator, 8 plus 6 is 14. And that can't be simplified. Okay?
So when it's two negatives, it's undefined.
No, 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 no. That's not it.
Okay. Can you just explain it to me? How do I know if it's undefined or not?
See that 0?
Yeah.
You cannot have a 0 in the denominator.
Okay. Okay.
That's how you know it's undefined. And I was going to say those lines. Do you remember the vertical lines? This line will, if you were to graph this or try to graph the line that connects these points, it'll be vertical.
Right.
If there's a 0 on the top, it'll end up being a horizontal line.
Okay.
So, the only place it's undefined is in the bottom. And the top is okay because then that's just 0.
Okay.
Oh, this is the one that we just did. Um, I think I'll do it again. Just it can't hurt. And so since I already did one just like it, it should be a lot easier to follow. Let's throw that in there. You get out of there. Let me move participants out of the way. Slide them over here. Get a little bit bigger. Oh, it's not quite the same. This isn't the y-intercept. So I don't, off the top of my head, I do not know what this equation is. But the first thing I'm going to do is graph this point -4, 6. So if you start at the origin, the first thing we want to do is x equals -4. So I want to go to the right. 1, 2, to the right. To the left, 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the x value, -4. And then the 6 here tells me that I need to go up 6 units. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there's the 6. And let me go ahead and get one of my red dots in there. That's right, I can choose the thickness. All right, so at -4, 6, I'm going to put it's like a starting point, if you will. All right, got it. Now, from there, -5/3. The negative means go down. No matter what, you either go up or down, but you always go to the right. So this means we go down. So we'll go down 5 units, and then we'll go to the right 3 units. Down 5, to the right 3. So starting at this point again, I'll go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I will go to the right 3. And I'll put my dot there. I'll repeat it because I like more accuracy. So I will go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's about as big as I'm going to get on here because the next one will go off the graph. So let me get then a thin red line and draw my line. Best accuracy, remember, is that it's not exactly as good as I want, but it's fine. One thing I want to point out to you, on the exam, you'll need to use a straight edge for doing these, or I won't give you credit. You know that the school just bought me little rulers. Some of you at least know that. So I'll bring them with me. So you won't have to worry about that. But just don't try to do any of these things by hand without some sort of a straight edge to give you the line. So this equation, whatever the equation of this line is, we don't really know it because it wasn't given to us. And I don't know this y-intercept. Who knows what that is? So this is the best I can do. And it is the graph. There is a way of getting an equation of it, but that's not what was asked here, just to be able to draw the line from that. So if you're okay with this, I'll move on. I'll take a second to wait and hear from anybody. If not, I will move on. Where's my mouse? There it is. Now, this video is being recorded, so I'll post it. And these notes I'll post just like we do on every other class. Let's see what was my next one.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, the question is find the y-intercept and the slope of the line. Y equals -3/2.
All right. This is exactly the same kind of question that you have. Let me do yours. Y equals -3/2.
Yes, sir.
Let's put it here. I'm gonna add it to it. I'm gonna call it part C. Y
Okay.
equals, what was it, -3/2?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I do not want to draw with the red pen. I want the black pen. All right. Let's start first of all with part A. Now remember this format, let me write it up here, I think. Y equals mx plus b. That's the what is it? Slope-intercept? Slope-intercept. Because what you do, if y is all by itself like this, just look what's in front of the x to tell you what the slope is. So if you look at this first equation here, there's a 4 in front of the x. So for part A, the slope is equal to 4. And the y-intercept, that's this guy right here, -8. C is really easy as well. Here, you don't see an x. That means that you really had, if you imagine it to be a 0x, on this side, or you can just memorize the fact that when you have y equals a number like this, it's just a horizontal line. So on those, the slope is always 0. And if you wanted to, you could do this little game with it if you really wanted to convince yourself that the slope was 0. Oh, and the y-intercept is -3/2. You can force this equation to be in the form of mx plus b by simply writing it this way. And then you can see that the slope is 0 and that the y-intercept is -3/2. Now, the hardest one to get these for is this part B. What you have to do is solve for y. That means get y by itself. So the first thing you would do in this process is to add 6x to both sides. That way, now all I have is a y term on the left, and on the right-hand side, I have the 6x plus 13. You can't combine the 6x and the 13. They're not like terms. So the next thing that I want to do is to divide by -5. That way you wipe out the negative that was in front of the y and get y by itself. Now here, there was a trick that we used for this, and it was to break it up like this: 6x over -5 plus 13 over -5. And that can be further simplified to -6/5 x minus 13/5. That means now I can get my m. M equals -6/5. That's the guy in front of the x. And then the y-intercept, that's this guy over here. Okay, no indications. All right. Okay, that's like the one we were doing before. So I'm going to make up one. Since I've written all over this one, I'm going to make up one. Um, so this example, if you use the test as a study guide, I'm doing number 6, a problem like number 6. So this is like number 6 on the test. Um, Try to make it similar to the way I asked it here, and has a slope. I don't know. Let's do 4/9. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. Okay. Okay, so we have what they've given us here is the slope. So we know the m, that's -4/9, but I don't know the b. So what I know so far is we want to write y equals mx plus b, but I already know the m. So far what I have is y equals -4/9 x plus b. How do I figure out the b? Well, this is where you use the other piece of information here. We have the point 2, -5. So that means I can plug 2 in for x and y equals -5. So y will be -5 when x is equal to 2. And now the game plan is to figure out the value of b. So first thing I'm going to do, you might want to think of the 2 as 2/1 if that helps you. And now from here, there's a number of ways to do this. I think sometimes we multiply by 9. Some people like that one. Sometimes you just add 8/9. There's a number of ways you can do it. I think I'm going to multiply everything by 9. That makes it a little bit simpler. So I'll get -45 equals -8 plus 9b. So when I multiply it, I do the distributive property to all three parts. Then let's see what I'm going to try to figure out the value of b. So I'm going to add 8. So I'll get -37 equals 9b. Then I will divide by 9. And it looks like that's our final answer for b equals -37/9. So I have my m, I have my b, so my y is -4/9 x minus 37/9. Let me know if you would like me to create another problem like that. If not, I'll move on. All right.
Yeah, you can create another one like that.
Great one. All right. So this is like number 6 again. Remember that your exam will be just like this thing. I'm just going to change the numbers. Okay. All right. This time, let's do. Yeah, let's do this. So a line passes the point -3, -6. I'm thinking for a second. So I know that you can't see I'm doing nothing right now, but right now I got to make sure it works out. I think this will work out. Of 1/2. Compute. What did I say? Find the equation of the line last time? Write an equation in slope-intercept form. All right, so for this one, once again, remember the goal here, slope-intercept form means that we need y equals mx plus b, and we already have the m. There's our m right there. All I got to do is figure out the b. How do you figure out the b? Well, you make use of the point that you're given, which is -3, -6. So I'll plug in x equals -3. Remember, the first one is x and the second one is y. So when I plug in x equals -3, y is equal to -6. And what happens now? So I get -6 equals -3/2 plus b. So this time I'm going to solve it in a slightly different way than before. I'm going to just add 3/2. And then if you do it this way, where you are not multiplying through by 2, then you need to imagine that -6 plus 3/2 is the same as -12 over 2 plus 3/2. So that piece is -9/2 equals b. So you have the slope, and you also have the y-intercept. Where did my slope go? There it is. It was already 1/2. So my y equals 1/2 x minus 9/2. So once again, there's our m. Well, and then there's b down there. Questions?
What if you made -3/1 and you multiplied?
That would be the same thing. So you do 1/2 times -3/1. That gives you -3/2. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, can you continue though? Because that negative threw me off. Like, can you finish
Which part
the
here?
yeah.
That's done. I don't know what else to do to it.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's why I got the -3/2 for that part.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Let's check the next one. Some of the, like I said, some of the problems on this exam, I tried to warn you, are pretty heavy, especially these things. This is the worst problem on the exam, probably. And I might, which time do we have? I might skip that for this problem down here, and I'll come back to it after the break. But I don't know why I'm doing that. Come back here. Once again, I'll do a better graph than this on the exam. I just did what I grabbed them from the textbook in the hopes that seeing something so familiar would make you be comfortable. but then I didn't realize it was going to do the kind of stuff. All right. There's a bunch of ways. What you want is the equation of this line. There it is. Write the equation of that line. And you'll notice we can easily get the slope if you start from this point on the left and go up 2 units and to the right 4 units. That stuff right there tells you that the m equals 4 over 2. Or you can simply write 2. So our equation for our line is y equals 2x plus b. Now, all you have to do is make use of 1, 2, I think this is a 3, and that spot was a 1. So the point 3, 1 is on that. Or you could use the other point. You'll get the same answer if you try to use -1, comma -1. You'll get the same answer as if you use 3, 1. I'm going to use point -1, -1. I know it has negative values, but the reason why I'm using -1, -1, I know that when I plug those in, I don't have to worry about a fraction. So let me replace x with -1 and y with -1. And in fact, you don't even have to know which entry is x and y for this. So I have -1 for y, -1 for x, and plus b. There must be something I did wrong there. What are these? It does not look like that's the b is where that cross is right there. And I don't think it's going to turn out to be 1. So I think I made a mistake. So the y is. Oh, do you guys see where my mistake is? By silence, I'm guessing you do not. I did it right here. I took the wrong thing. My rise was 2 and my run was 4. So much for the fractions. Um, so I was not able to avoid fractions. But at least it's not that bad. -1 plus 1/2 is simply equal to -1/2. So I have my m, I've got my b, and so my y equals mx plus b is going to look like y equals negative 1, no, it's going to be 1/2 x minus 1/2. I don't know if you remember, but a bunch of problems in the homework had this same kind of stuff happen where the slope was similar to the y-intercept. Don't count on that happening. That just happens in some of the problems they asked. I noticed that happened a few times. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break from here. If you have a question for me in those 10 minutes, you're going to have to hold on to it because I'm going to walk out of the room and I'll come back at 2 o'clock. So unless you have a question, I won't leave just to that. All right, let's go ahead and take a break there. Probably mute this while I'm Mute. All right. Back. Oh, yeah, these questions. All right, this is probably the worst of all the questions, just in my years of experience. The key here is lines perpendicular and parallel. All you need to know is the slope of the original line. The slope of the original line is negative 1/4. A perpendicular line is the negative reciprocal of that. So for the perpendicular line, m equals 4. When the line is parallel, the slope is the same. And then once you have that, you can do the procedure I just used in the previous problems. You know that you want to, well, it says find the equation line. Well, you can find any equation you want, but probably the easiest one to use is going to be this one. So for part A, that m is equal to 4. So I know that y equals 4x plus b. Oh, my x looks weird. All right, now I'm given this point, negative 2, 7. So let me plug that in. That means that when x is equal to negative 2, y is equal to 7. So I plug the negative 2 into the other side. And now just to get b is really easy. Then all I got to do is add 8. Add 8. B is equal to 15. So my line for part A is y equals 4x plus 15. For part B, I've given you the slope, so I wrote it in there. And now once again, I'm given the exact same point as before, so I'm going to use negative 2, 7. And I'm going to plug those numbers in. So when y is equal to 7, x is equal to negative 2. And if you want to, you can put that over 1, so it will help you remember that you're going to have positive 2 over 4. Or I'll simplify. And then I'm ready to finish it off. You can multiply by 2, but I think for myself, this is really simple. So 7 minus 1/2, I think of 14 halves minus 1/2, and that is the 13 halves. So I get my 13 halves for B. I already had the negative 1/4. You can see it right there. So my y is equal to negative 1/4 x plus 13 halves. All right. That is a very tough problem. Would you like me to do a second one of those? I can grab one from the homework if you want.
Yes, please.
All right. I think I know where they're at. Let's see if we can find them here. Go to Alex. Pop over here. I don't know if it's that one or that one. And then the inequalities. No, those are just graphing lines. Okay. Then the inequality. Not sure. Well, we'll find out. I didn't mean to do that. Come over here. Let's preview this one. There. This one is even slightly harder than the one I just did, because if you'll notice the line that they give you, they don't tell you the slope right off the bat. You have to do work just to get the slope of this line. And then that will let you even start it. So to do anything, I have to solve this given line for y. So let's see, this is the given equation. We have 2x minus 4y equals -1. I'll subtract 2x from both sides. Remember, you cannot combine the -1 with the -2x. I'll divide by -4. Now remember to break this into two pieces. So you're going to do -2x over -4 minus 1 over -4. And then you can do your simplifying after that, I think is a good idea. So this, actually, I haven't even started the problem yet. All I did was take the original equation and I did all this because all I wanted to do was figure out its slope. This is the only thing I really cared about in the whole problem was that thing. Now then, when it's parallel, it has the same slope. When it's perpendicular, it has the negative reciprocal of the slope. So start with A. The line is parallel. So we have m equals 1/2. So I already know that the equation of my line is 1/2 x plus b. If I want to figure out what b is, I plug in the given point. That's the -8, -2. Remember what that means. When y is equal to -2, x is equal to -8. The right side does simplify. 1/2 times -8 is -4. And then I can complete this by adding 4 to both sides. So I already know the slope was 1/2. And now I have my y-intercept. For part B, I already know this about it. Plug in my point. So that there means that y is -2 when x is -8. This one's a little easier. There's no, so this was a harder problem, but they did avoid fractions, so that's nice, I suppose. And so our equation here then is y equals -2x minus 18. So try to practice that as much as you can. You got about 47 hours till the next test. If you want to, you can practice. You know you're allowed to go back to the homework and keep practicing and trying similar ones. So you can, without damaging your homework score. Let's go to here. That. Graphing lines. Okay. Y equals 3/2 x minus 4. That was question 9. Let's check real quick to make sure I pulled it in right. Oh, I can probably just, I can probably just grab what? 3/2 x minus 4. All right. Let me draw in my axes. Let's put them over here. Got it. Oh, now let me fix that. I think we're good. All right. With these, when it's like this is the best form for graphing. The -4 is the y-intercept. So if I start at the origin, I simply go down 4 units and put a dot there. Let me get my red in here. Where's my 2 cm? 2 red. So starting at the origin, I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll put a dot there. Then the slope tells you how to go from there. So I'm going to go up 3 units and to the right 2 units. So up 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the right 2, and put a dot. Repeat as much as you want until you get enough dots to where you're satisfied with your accuracy. But always use a straight edge. And if you want, also, you can reverse yourself, like go down 3 and then to the left 2. Draw a thin line to connect these. Think I got it? Nice. And there you go. Perfect. That's a very nice looking graph. So the 3/2, after I touched this point, use 3/2 to generate new points. Okay, when I told you about these lines, this line is a vertical line. I told you it's probably just going to be easiest for you if you just memorize it. And so these are actually the easiest possible things to graph. Let me get myself a grid here. I didn't want red, but it doesn't matter. X equals 3 is a vertical line. You just simply have to memorize it. So you go to the right, 1, 2, 3. You find your spot here. Oh, my ink is red too. But you know what? That's okay. I think that's not so bad. And then draw a vertical line through that. That's all you need to do. And that's the extent of that problem. If you are, on the other hand, are given y equals 3 or something like that, all you have to know is that the x version is vertical, the y version is horizontal. So now when I go to graph this, since I know it's a horizontal line, I simply want to go up 3 units, and it's going to go through that spot where y is equal to 3. And so now let me go ahead and draw my thing here. It's a horizontal line. And I'll turn it into red. Okay, so those two are technically the easiest, but for some reason with students, they get stressed about it because it doesn't follow, seemingly doesn't follow the normal format. All right, so you'll have to graph something like this first one. You'll have to know either vertical or horizontal. You'll have to know how to graph those. Each one of these, I think it's a good idea for you to understand how they're different from the other ones. This problem here, the last two are similar problems. For both of them, the way you're going to want to graph is always to solve the equation for y. That's always going to be the easiest way. So for this one, if we want to sketch the graph of this one, what the first thing that I want to do is solve it for y. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 2x to both sides of the equation. Remember, the other side, you cannot combine those x's with the number that's there, so you just got to do something like that, and then divide by -6. Now remember, the trick here is to break this up like that. Now you can do your simplifying. I'm going to get -1/3 x, so now I know the slope, -2. Now I know the y-intercept. All right, so I'll start with the y-intercept. This -2 tells me, starting at the origin, I will simply go down 2 units and put a dot. -1/3 tells me to go down 1 unit, but right 3 units. So down 1 and to the right 3. And then repeat as many times as you need to until you think you can get a good graph out of it. I'll go this way, this way. And for me, I think I have enough. Let me go ahead and draw my line. Ooh, that's a fat one. All right, let me make this line thin. Does it look all right still? Kind of weak. All right, and then one last one was part D. As with the last one, solve for y. Let me change my pen. The right side cannot be combined. And then I'll divide by -3. And then when you break the right side up, you'll get 5/3 x minus 2. All right, then we have the y-intercept is -2. So starting at the origin, I will go down 1, 2, place my point. This time I'm going to go up 5 units, but to the right 3. So up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then to the right 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5, and to the right 3. Then to the left 3, and that's enough for me. All right, and let me get my line through it. And there we go. Any questions? Anyone? All right, just to show you the difference between these two problems, let me come back to, let me go to the test so you can see the difference between the two. Why are they different problems? Well, if you look at this one, it has a good y-intercept. Well, no, actually, they both had good y-intercepts. This one, though, on the left has a good x-intercept. This one on the right doesn't have a good x-intercept. It doesn't go right through a good point. So this first one, if you don't even know anything about solving for y and graphing, you could have used that chart where we put in the x and the y values. And if you put in 0 for x and then you put in 0 for y, you'll get nice whole numbers or integers for your answers. Over here, though, if you try to plug in 0 for y, what will happen is you'll get some sort of a fraction for x, and you'll have to either pick a different kind of a point or relent and solve it for y. And then you'll have to do an inequality. It won't be a hard one. I'll grab one. This one I'll let you practice, but I'm going to grab one from the textbook or from the homework assignment. I think there's only a couple of them. I know that. I don't want that one. Actually, I'll do it though. I won't give you a problem like this, but I don't think it's a bad one to do for the purposes of practice. All right, once again, x equals -7 is a vertical line. So let me draw that. This needs to be wide. I need that. Don't you move. It's stuck. No, I'm stuck. I think we're locked up here. All right, so x equals -7 is a vertical line. So draw that vertical line. All I got to do is go to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's x equals -7, and I'll draw a vertical line there. And it's not a dashed line because this equals underneath of there means it's a solid line. What I want, draw probably this one. Now there's more to it than that. I want x to be greater than or equal to -7. So when it comes to x, you're talking about left and right. If a number is bigger than another number, it's to the right of it. So I want to shade to the right of the line. So I don't care how you do your shading or what method you use. I'm going to use yellow, I guess, for here. But just make sure you make it evident to me that this side of the line is shaded, however you can do that. I don't have a paintbrush available in this program, so I'll just kind of do this stuff. But hopefully you get the idea. All this stuff over here is part of the answer. Oh no, that's bad right there. I don't want to mess it up like last time, so I'll just stop. And then in here, when you're practicing on here, all you got to do is place it at -7. Make sure it stays there. Don't want to dash it, but then put that as your region and check. Now, if it did not have that line under the thing, remember it's a dashed line. 2x minus 3. I'm not going to give him that one. Let me do this next one here. This is more along the lines of the problems that we'll give. The only problem is with this, it was not permitting me. I wanted to do at least one where it had this kind of a symbol. That way you know that it's a dashed line. All right, once again, ignore the inequality while you're graphing the line. First of all, notice that the y-intercept is 2. So let me get that on there. The y-intercept is 2, so I'll start at the origin and simply go up 2 units, 1, 2, and put a mark. And then negative 1/2 for the slope tells me to go down 1 unit and to the right 2. And repeat as needed. And don't forget to reverse yourself for some extra dots. That should be enough. Wait. I think I got it there. All right, now this is not done, obviously. I need to shade something yet. To do this, I need to turn, I think I turn this into a picture. That. Drawing, there we go. Not that one. Great, so let's pick the smallest one. Right now I'm making it dashed. All right, now we are told that y is greater than this thing. Since y is bigger, that means we're talking above. Remember, y is vertical, so we're talking above or below on these graphs. So I want to shade up above the graph. So let me pick myself a shade. I guess I'll no, yellow again, although it didn't work that well last time. But basically, you get the idea. It's up here. So in here, for the homework, first thing you want to do is put down that negative, positive 2. And then go down 1 and to the right 2. It's a lot easier to graph on this thing. Solid line here since it has that little line underneath of the greater than. And our shading then will simply be up there. I don't want to use widgets. All right. Back to the test. All right. I've run out of test. Are there any questions, any things that I've done throughout this whole thing that you would like to see me do? Any problems that you have, a special problems that you want me to do? Let me know. All right. Then our next meeting will be on Wednesday. Make sure you show up for class. Well, obviously show up in class. You're not going to take the test at home. You're going to take it in class then. I'll go ahead and be done with class and if there's no questions. All righty. Good luck to you. You can email me if you have any questions in the meantime.
Appreciate it, Professor.
Thank you. See you then. Stop that.